So last time we did our first day, we got a reading recommendation from Yuri instead of Natsuki this time around, and yeah, it's pretty much, if you played Doki Doki Literature Club, it's about the same. We went through our first day, we're part of the Literature Club, and now we're writing our first poem. Also, by the way, I did say I was going to do an hour of vocal warm-ups before this stream. You better believe I did an hour of vocal warm-ups before this stream. I'm feeling great. I did a lot of shiz. I'm good to go. Okay. Sayori words. Depression. Warm. Hope. Universe. Memories. Explode. Sugar. That's Natsuki. Yeah, Natsuki. Happiness? Yeah. Tragedy. I feel like misery would be Yuri, but it could be Sayori. Hey! Cry. Childhood. Joy. Rainbow? Friends. As soon as I said we're getting into the swing of it, I lost it. Lazy. You know what? No. Kitty. Ambient. Twirl. Twirl? Fuck! Cheer. Not calm. Sunshine. Amazing. Pain. Such a stark contrast with her words. Bubbles. Fuck. I have to try not to swear. I keep telling myself I need to not swear as much, and I always forget. Laugh. Rain cloud. Bouncy, I feel like, is Natsuki. Fear. There we go. Oh man, I dished my vocal warm-ups and got my character voices, and then Monica left me.
Sefchi, fancy meeting you here.
Yeah, what a coincidence, huh? That I said I was gonna come to the club, and then I came to the club? That's crazy.
Seriously speaking, though, I'm happy to see you back here. I would have been disappointed if you ran away on us.
Hey, I enjoyed myself last time, so why wouldn't I come back?
True enough, true enough. Feel free to make yourself at home before we start on our club activities.
Thanks, will do. Well, I'm back at the Literature Club. Sayori and I were the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. Oh, Sefchi, I'm glad to see you here again. Who knew that something so simple would warrant so much thanks? First Monica, now Yuri. I know that it may be overwhelming to be thrown into a new hobby so suddenly, much less an organization centered around that hobby. So don't hesitate to let me know if you ever need any help. Or any other club member for that matter. That is to say, feel free to ask any of us for assistance. Right, thanks. I'll keep that in mind. Don't worry though, it's not like I've never read anything before. I even remembered to write a poem for today, if you'll believe it. We'll believe it when we see it. Hey, it's not like I need to have a university degree to write a poem. It was just like another school assignment. Although it might be a little new to me, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to write a bad poem, you mean? She's got me there. And that's why I never said I wrote a good poem. Natsuki smiles at me, seemingly pleased that I'm not offended by her teasing. Well, good is often subjective when it comes to subjects like these. I'm sure you did fine, Sefchi. Well, thanks for the vote of confidence. Try not to overhype my work, though. Yeah, Yuri, if you keep your expectations low, you'll never be disappointed. Besides, I bet this is the first extracurricular Sefchi's done since high school started. So extra work is probably really foreign to him. Again, she's not wrong, but she doesn't have to say it like that. Natsuki, you're being unfairly harsh. Sefchi, what would you say your main hobbies are? Wow, she's really putting me on the spot here. I know I'm playing into your teasing right now, but yes, I spend a lot of my time playing games and watching anime. Like a weeb. And that's all you need to know.
That's a bit rich coming from someone who keeps her manga collection in the club room.
What do you say, manga? What? Natsuki splutters to a halt. Looks like a certain someone knows how to dish it out, but can't take it. Manga is literature! Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plumps back into a seat.
Don't worry, guys. Sefchi always gives it his best as long as he's having fun. He's always been there when I need it. When we were kids, he'd always be around to help me with stuff.
Oh, are you two childhood friends? I glance at Sayori. Despite her cheery recollection of our childhood memories just then, Yuri's question is a reminder that we haven't spent much time together in a long time. It's a tad awkward. Yeah, we've known each other for a while, haven't we? We smile at each other. I'm really hoping we can use the club to reconnect. Such a history with one another. I imagine you've shared much together. You could say that. Would you believe Sayori is still as clumsy now as she was 10 years ago?
Hey, meanie, that's not true.
Oh? Need I tell Yuri about the time you tried to cook lunch and almost set the house on fire? Her face turns pink and she rushes to interrupt me.
Anyway, I'm sure you two could be just as good of friends. After all, you're both in the literature club now. We don't need to talk about my arson history.
And this was the day we learned that Sayori is an arsonist, a secret arsonist. Sayori, what are you doing with that lighter?
What lighter?
You know you're not supposed to play with lighters.
But the flames are so pretty.
Yeah. Look forward to it. Yuri looks hopeful at hearing this, although I can't help but wonder. Given the maturity and intelligence she carries so elegantly, and how her passion for reading is much stronger than my own, will it be as easy as Sayori thinks it is? Still, it's worth a try at least.
Yay! Oh, Yuri even brought you something there, you know.
Wait, Sayori, me? It's not much, really.
Don't be shy.
It's really nothing. Whatever it is, I'm sure I'll like it. What is it, Yuri? Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. I was going to give it to you at the proper time, but...
I'm sorry, Yuri, I wasn't thinking. Now I've ruined the surprise.
The two girls both look dolefully down, which we know is a word. Dolefully. I guess that means it's up to me to rescue this situation. Hey, don't worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place, so this is still a pleasant surprise to me. Just knowing that you went through the effort to get me something makes me feel really welcomed. No matter what, I'm sure it'll make me happy. Is that so? Of course. Thanks for being so considerate, Yuri. You're welcome. It was the least I could do. Anyway, if that's the case, here it is. Yuri reaches into a bag and pulls out a book. Isn't this the book from yesterday? Upon seeing the confused look on my face, she hastens to explain. I thought you might like to, have your own copy so that you can read it on your own as well. I honestly don't know what to say. How is it that she's only known me for a day, yet she's already done something this thoughtful for me? Oh, Yuri, thank you! That's really thoughtful of you, but, you didn't have to do that for me. I feel kind of bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that. I just, I understand if you don't want to read with me anymore, so... Honestly, she gets more adorable by the minute. I don't like where this conversation's going. Please, it's fine. I'd love to read it with you. I just wasn't expecting you to buy me a copy of my own. Are you sure? I don't want to force you. Seriously, Yuri, I'm sure. After all, I grin at her. It is a good book. She timidly returns my smile, relaxing a little bit. I'm glad you seem to think so. How are you liking it so far? She looks at me with wide, expectant eyes. She must be really worried that I'm not enjoying it as much as her. To be honest, I've been pleasantly surprised. While horror isn't really my thing, it really kept my attention. Even though I haven't gotten very far yet, I find myself feeling sorry for the protagonist. The language is pretty, engaging? It certainly makes me think about it. As I praise the book, her face grows visibly more relieved, and her eyes light up as I mention the language. I'm glad you think so. One not only needs to look at what is being said, but how it's phrased. It can entirely change the desired message, wouldn't you agree? Oh boy, I hope we don't get into an in-depth discussion about the language. I'm still nowhere near Yuri's level with this sort of thing. Oh, totally. I never really thought about it until you brought it up with me. You really made me look at it with a bit more scrutiny than I would normally. She blushes at this, turning away slightly. Really? I helped you with that? I have to admit, you really managed to open my eyes to this sort of thing. Or should I say, my third eye, which I've always had trouble opening. It's a very strange burst effect having this third eye in the middle of my forehead, but I got one. Oddly enough, not many people comment on it, but I feel like that's just them being polite. Yuri is silent. Yuri's silence makes me nervous. Did I make a mistake? You know, because the book mentions the third eye, and there's an eye in the cover and an eye on my forehead, like a third one. Ah, I see. Yes, your third eye. It looks nice. The third eye on your forehead, it's not at all strange. I just like to imagine Yuri has been spending this whole time just trying to like tiptoe around MC's third eye on his forehead. Just trying really hard to be polite. It's like, just don't mention it, Yuri. You don't want to be rude. You don't want to chase him off. we just got a new member. It doesn't matter if he's a freak. Did I just say there's a freak out loud? You're not a freak. It's totally normal. I've seen so many people with third eyes, like my third uncle. Probably best not to comment on her accidental continuation of the pun. Tough crowd. Oh, I see. You were making a joke. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. No worries, I just thought it was a good pun. She smiles bashfully. Yes, it is quite humorous, isn't it? Phew. I think that means everything is okay now. Now that everyone's settled in, I expect Monica to kick off the scheduled activities for the club. Like the poetry thing. I've already steeled myself with the critique. I'm gonna try that again. I did vocal warm-ups today, and it half helped me. Like the poetry thing. I've already steeled myself for the critique I'll probably be receiving. But it seems that we have some downtime before then. Ah, well, looks like I won't be able to just immediately get it over with. What are the others doing right now? Sayori and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Probably discussing club matches, given that they're the president and vice president. As expected, Yuri's face is already buried in the book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. A few huffs of annoyance sound from her direction every once in a while. I'm just gonna save here, just in case we have to go back. Everyone seems to be doing their own thing today. Natsuki is rummaging around in the cupboard, and Yuri is sitting by herself, silently engrossed in her book. Meanwhile, Monica and Sayori seem to be talking animatedly about something. I'm not really in the mood to read anything. I slump down into the nearest desk like the lazy fat fuck I am. Closing my eyes, I end up listening in on Sayori's conversation with Monica.
The problem with the literature club is that it just doesn't sound particularly exciting. Plus, people probably have their own preconception about what the club will be like. I'm a bit worried they might assume we're all pretentious and haughty.
Yeah, it's a real shame that people can't look past their assumptions. I'm surprised I know a word that big, with my IQ of 5.
Still, I'm confident we can come up with something. We can't just give up. This festival is a real chance to show everyone what literature is all about. After all, we have such a variety here. Everyone's poems and writing styles are so different. Natsuki loves manga, and Yuri's really into horror. There should be something here for everyone, you know?
Agreed! I'm glad everyone has such different tastes. It really helps bring the club to life.
That's exactly what we want everyone else to see. We just need to find a way of showing how fun literature can be. Something that really stands out and appeals to the creative sides.
That doesn't solve the problem, though.
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, even if we come up with the most fun thing ever, I don't think people will come in the first place if it's a literature event. So, I think it's more important to figure out how to get people interested in the first place, right? And then, once they're here, we can do whatever to appeal to their creative sides.
Huh. This is a side to Sayori I haven't seen before. She's really taking this seriously and giving it a lot of thought.
Excellent point, Sayori. Where would I be without my vice president? Okay, do you think food will get the job done?
I can practically hear Sayori's face light up, even though I have my eyes closed.
Food? What kind?
You like that idea, huh? I was thinking...
Cupcakes!
Natsuki would love that. Good thinking.
Her cupcakes are so good! That works out perfectly!
That wasn't why you suggested it?
Cupcakes speak to my creative tummy. Seriously, they really help me write. I don't just like eating. Don't call me fat. The only person who gets to call anyone fat is me, and the only person who gets to be called fat is Sefji.
Okay, cupcakes will do fine.
All this talk about food has made me hungry.
Anyway, don't forget we still have to sort out the details of the festival itself.
I tune out the rest of the conversation as... I did vocal warm-ups before this, and it helped a lot, but not as much as I was hoping it would. I tune out the rest of the conversation as tiredness begins to... fuck me. I tune out the rest of the conversation as tiredness takes a stronger hold on me. Sayori is still her usual self, bubbly and goofy. I guess some people never change. Brings a smile to my face. My arm is falling asleep for some reason. Oh, that feels weird. Oh, God, why? This happened all the time during the Natsuki playthrough, too. My arm just, keeps going numb in And it's just Blue Skies. This does not happen with any other playthrough. It's only Blue Skies. Oh, I got like pins and needles like all up my arm up to my elbow. Okay. Wake up. Wake up. Although I was surprised to see her so dedicated. I always remembered her as the kind of person who just improvises things. Kind of like me, actually. Ah! I didn't expect to see Sayori's face taking up my vision when I opened my eyes. I nearly fell out of my chair.
Wake up, sleepyhead!
Jeez, Sayori, you scared me.
Sorry. Hang on, I'm not sorry at all. Why were you napping? This is the literature club, not the napping club.
Wait, our school has a napping club?
Hey, don't try to change the subject, mister. The others won't like it if they catch you sleeping, you know. I don't want you getting in trouble.
Sayori, you've not changed one bit.
Huh?
You always used to look out for me. Back when we used to hang out.
I remember that. Do you remember that time when we went on a bike ride to that park? Feels like such a long time ago.
Yeah, I think I do, actually. It was in the summer. You were talking about the time I fell off my bike and hurt my knee, right?
Yeah, that one! You were in a lot of pain, but you were trying to act like it was no big deal. You were so silly. I had to go and get a Band-Aid.
That memory makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. The fact I could tell straight away which memory she was talking about makes me wonder if we have a psychic bond or something. Good times, good times. By the way, did you know you have a big toothpaste stain on your collar?
No I don't.
She nervously picks the stain with her hands as I stand up and get a closer look at her. Wait a sec, your collar is sticking up a bit. Your hair doesn't look brushed either. Were you in a rush this morning? I reach out and run my fingers down the messy pot of her hair in a vain attempt to straighten it out. This isn't uncomfortable at all. I reach out and run my fingers down the messy pot of her hair in a vain attempt to straighten it out. Her hair is really soft and smells faintly of cinnamon. Not sure why the hell I'm sniffing her hair, but we're here now. It's happening. I'm probably making this worse. You really need a brush, Sayori.
No, I don't. My hair is just naturally like this. Okay, maybe it isn't, but it's super hard to get right.
I give up with her hair and try to wipe off the stain with my fingers. Much like with her hair, I'm not having much luck. Come on, Sayori, you can't fool me. I know I've not seen much of you over the past few years, but I still know you. I can tell when you've been in the rush.
People won't even notice these things. It's true, you're being so close to me and seeing such a good friend looking out for me.
Fuck it. They would. They just wouldn't say anything because they don't want to embarrass you. I give up with the stain and step back looking at her blazer. Luckily for you, I'm not bothered about that. Also, why don't you button up your blazer? She shrugs.
It was too stuffy last time I tried it.
With a sigh, I stop buttoning it up. This is just strange behavior to me, I don't know why. Ah, familiar CG.
Hehe. This is so funny.
What is?
Well, I was just thinking about how weird it is to have a friend who does these kind of things. Most other normal people wouldn't do this. Only psychopaths and predators. You know what I mean?
I freeze. Now that I think about it, the situation is a little suggestive. How I'm only realizing this just now is beyond me. After all, my hands are very, very, very close to her chest. But this is an adult stream. I'm allowed to say boobles. Come on, Sefchi, get it together, man. You're just helping out a friend, that's all. Don't say that. There's nothing weird about this. Nothing weird at all about my hands being this close to your chest.
If you say so. It's okay, though. I'm happy we're like this. It makes me feel that nothing has really changed between us, you know? Don't you think?
Yeah, I guess. Why is this one button so hard to close?
Hey, be careful!
This is impossible. Does this thing even fit you properly?
It did when I bought it!
You know, if you actually buttoned it, you'd probably have realized sooner that it doesn't fit you anymore. Wait, what's so funny?
Don't you see? It means my boobs got bigger again!
How on earth am I meant to reply to that? What is this game? Why? It's Doki Doki Blue Skies, god damn it! And I love it! Geez, Sayori, don't say that out loud. Anyway, you look a bit better now. Seeing Sayori's blazer button up like that is weird.
Ah, it's so stuffy! I told you!
She quickly unbuttons it again. There goes all my hard work.
Much better. Thank you for that, though. Even though I prefer the blazer unbuttoned, it was really thoughtful of you to do this for me. Even if you were a bit of a meanie. I do try, you know.
I'm sorry. I just want what's best for you, that's all. Just try to give yourself a bit more time in the morning, okay?
Only if you promise to stop napping in the club.
I laugh. She got me there. It's a deal.
Okay, everyone.
Monica suddenly calls out.
Why don't we share the poems we wrote now?
Yay! I can't wait to read yours, FG.
Don't expect too much, Sayori.
By the way, you did remember to write a poem, right?
Don't worry, I'm not that much of a slacker. I've got it right here in my... Oh no, this isn't my poem. This is... the Gettysburg Address. I spent a good chunk of time just searching for something, and that's what it came up with. And now I'm just gonna commit to this joke, and we're just gonna pretend that my poem is just the entirety of the Gettysburg Address that I just plagiarized.
Man, I really like your poem, FG, especially this one part, 7 years ago.
I rifled through some stray papers to pull out the page that I wrote my poem on. Well, I can't help but feel a little nervous. I have to admit that I'm excited now. Talking to these girls has really calmed my nerves, and now I'm just eager to share my poem. After all, judging by each girl's personality, I doubt that anyone would say anything nasty about it. Well, Natsuki... I don't know if she'd be unduly harsh, though. She just seems like the type of person who enjoys ribbing on her friends, as do I. Either way, I hope they realize that I put hard work into it. I figured that it'd only be fair to repay their warm welcome by showing efforts in club activities.
Now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with?
I can't wait!
Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a neat black composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. She's going to put all of us to shame. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. Alright, let's save it here again. Alright. I'm definitely most comfortable with sharing it with Sayori first. She's my good friend, after all.
Wow, FG! This is so good! Seriously, this is your first poem?
Huh? It's not that good, jeez.
Seriously, it is! I love it! I had no idea you were such a good poet!
Sayori, you're overreacting a bit. It's really nothing special.
Trust me, it is! How did you write it?
With a pen. A piece of paper. Huh? What do you mean?
Like, what did you think of while you wrote this?
Huh? This is gonna sound a bit weird, but I thought of you? I love her reaction. I love this face. She gives me a brief look of disbelief, a faint blush on her cheeks.
Me?
Yeah, hey, not in like a weird way or anything. I just thought of words that reminded me of you and went along with that. It just felt kind of natural doing it that way, I guess.
Well, if it works, it works! Looks like this club really is the best place for you.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, Sayori. Good to know I'm not totally in over my head here. She looks at me for a moment, not saying anything. There's a few moments of an odd silence. Earth to Sayori. She jumps slightly.
Sorry! I'm just not used to seeing you around again, that's all. To have you in the club, writing poems... It's lovely, though. It just takes a little getting used to.
Ah, yeah, that's understandable. I'm a bit surprised myself, to be honest. But I'm enjoying it here so far.
That's good to hear. Do you want to read my poem now? I'm not very good, though.
Only one way to find out. Just a reminder, if you weren't here for last playthrough, pretty much all of these poems are different. There are a few that are the same, but a lot of them are slightly different in one way or another. Some of them are just like completely different poems.
Dear sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning, it makes me feel like you missed me. Kissing my forehead to help me out of bed, making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day? I look above, the sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I could sleep forever, but I'm not mad. I want breakfast. Well, what did you think?
I hesitate as I answer. It's not that it was a bad poem, in fact it was great. I'm just really inexperienced with poetry, especially feedback. It's really... you.
What's that supposed to mean?
As in the poem just really reminds me of you. Just in that it sucks. Made me feel really good inside, even though it sucked.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea what to expect, as this is my first time reading your poetry. But the way this was written, I don't know, it feels really wholesome and cheery. Like you are. I also really like that last line. Trust you of all people to include breakfast in their poems.
Hey, I was eating when I wrote.
Sayori stopped speaking immediately, as if she's accidentally let something slip. Oh, so you wrote this poem in the morning?
Huh? No. Maybe. I forgot to write it last night.
Well, at least we know where your inspiration comes from.
Eggs and toast.
Well, I suppose if it sounds stupid but it works, then it isn't stupid. I ad-libbed a little bit there, and I'm sticking to it. Either way, thanks for showing me your poem, Sayori. It was really good.
I'm happy you think so. Anyways, next time I won't forget. Tomorrow's poem will be even better.
I'll hold you to that. Alright, now on to Natsuki. Well, it's about what I expected from someone like you. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? What I mean is that it's just kinda average. Doesn't really evoke any emotions. Even though it's straight up the Gettysburg Address, I just don't feel anything 'cause I'm dead inside. So, kinda bland for your tastes? Natsuki throws her That was my most interesting one yet. My taste? What's that supposed to mean, huh? Oh, nothing. Well, anyway, I guess I'll show you my poem now. Not that you'll like it or anything. Sometimes. Some folks are winners, some only lose. Some are go-getters, some only cruise. Sometimes we try hard and give it our all. Sometimes we give up. What else can we do? Told you you'd hate it. Actually, I like it. What? Don't just say it's good because I'm a girl with a very girly voice who likes very cute things because I'm a girl and not a trap. Be honest. What? No, it has nothing to do with you being a girl. That'd be sexist. I genuinely like the poem. Really? Yeah, it's simple, but still pretty effective. Finally, someone who gets it. People in high school think poetry has to be so formal and vague. But they don't realize that simple writing is just as effective, if not more. The reader shouldn't have to search for the meaning, that's just stupid. Besides, the simpler the writing, the more emphasis on wordplay. Like how I made most of the lines start with some. Yeah, I noticed that. Made the last couplet seem more powerful. Yes, that's exactly what I was going for. Well, good job then. Ha, didn't expect that from the youngest of the club, did you? Yeah, I guess not. For someone so young, you have a really deep voice. Anyways, save again, and on to Yuri. Yuri stares at the poem. For a long, 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 long time. A minute passes. More than enough time for her to finish reading. I've fallen asleep at this point. I wake up. Is everything okay? Oh, goodness, sorry. I know what I want to convey, but I need to find the right words. I understand. Take your time. Okay, I think I know what I want to say. Do you have any prior writing experience? To be honest, not really. Is it that obvious? No, I don't mean to be rude, but I guess that it might be after reading through it. I'm gonna read that one more time because that was sloppy. I guess that it might be after reading through it. Ah, so it's that bad. No! Did I just read my voice? I'm so sorry. Yuri buries her face in her hands. I couldn't help but notice that it's been several minutes and we really haven't gotten anywhere. Yuri seems to be incredibly introverted. It must take her a long time to warm up to new people. Don't worry about it. We'll start somewhere, right? What were you saying? Right, I've just noticed a few qualities consistent with newer writers that showed up in your poem. Perhaps what stands out the most is that you've tried very hard to make the structure of this poem your own. And that's okay. But if this is the first poem you've written, it might be imprudent to consider more traditional structures. Couplets, sonnets, haiku, and the like. If you're not confident in your writing style, it'll show in your piece. Man, it's like Yuri's a totally different person when she gets going. She sounds incredibly confident and stands tall, speaking clearly. Like Elsa in Let It Go. Again, that's not your fault. I think that once you've studied poetic structures and techniques a bit more, you'll be able to put together a truly wonderful composition. I appreciate the feedback, Yuri. It sounds like you're well-versed in this sort of thing. Would it be okay if I took a look at what you've written? Oh goodness, of course! Please, let me know what you think. I'd be thrilled to explain my process. Yuri smiles dreamily, as if that's a rare opportunity for her. Which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Tumble. Hail falls down like discarded dust of overused emotions, dragging down blankets made of want. Slender string pieces. I'm just gonna. God damn it. Slender string pierces my eyelids, barely painful, and pulls them shut. Ever so heavy, ever so heavy. I think I've misplaced something. Is there a piece missing? You need all the pieces to fix something. Please don't look for it. There are more important things for you to do today. I'm sorry if my writing's a bit illegible. Once my pen touches the page, I just want to get my thoughts down. It's fine, Yuri. I was able to read it just fine. I wasn't thinking that at all. Are you sure? It seemed to take you a while to read it. Yeah, well, I guess I don't see cursive often, and also I was just flubbing lines a lot. But it's really nice when I do. Your writing's actually quite pretty. Is that so? I'm glad you think so. It made your poem stand out even more as well. It's as though your handwriting fits your word choice, or vice versa, or the developers intended for that to be the case. It wasn't too short, was it? I'm used to writing longer pieces, but since this is the first time we're sharing, I thought it would be easier to share. That makes sense. Do you mind telling me what it's about, though? I'm not sure I understand. Sorry, I didn't mean to write something so confusing. Oh, it's not that. I just wanted to be sure I'm reading it properly. I see. I suppose from a cursory glance it might not be obvious. But part of what makes poetry magical is how you can conjure up a vivid image with your words. While on the surface it might seem a bit out there, if you look a little deeper, you might be able to find a deeper meaning hidden amongst the lines, compounded by the metaphors used. For example, the words and images in this poem aren't meant to be taken at face value. In actuality, it's supposed to represent the last remnants of something lost to the past, and the sense of plaintive longing that comes with it. Huh. That's pretty impressive when you put it that way. Oh, I wouldn't go that far. But thanks for the compliment. Hopefully during your time here, your understanding of poetry will grow and these things will come to you naturally. I'll do my best. Thank you for sharing with me, Yuri. Of course. Oh, fuck. Right when I have to do the voice, it slips my head. There's a voice that I do underneath the voice mod that I forgot about day one, and I forgot about it just now too. I'm just gonna go for it.
Hey, Sepchi. Hope you've been enjoying your time here.
Yeah, definitely. I probably sound like a broken record by now, but everyone's been really welcoming.
Well, a broken record isn't so bad when it plays something so nice.
I guess so.
Anyway, since you're new and everything, feel free to bring up any questions or concerns you might have. It's my duty as president to make sure that everything is perfect.
I'd have to say that you've been doing a good job of that already. I doubt that I'll ever have anything to complain about.
Either way, I'm always open to new suggestions for the club as well. So don't be afraid to bring things up, okay?
Alright, I'll keep that in mind. She says that, but it's going to be very intimidating to try to criticize Monica of all people. I really don't think that there's going to be anything I'll need to speak up about either. One of the other girls would probably say something before I ever needed to. Natsuki definitely would.
Now that that's out of the way, feel like sharing your poem with me?
I mean, I don't really have a choice in the matter, do I?
You shouldn't be thinking like that.
Yeah, I was just joking. Kinda.
It's alright, Sefchi. I get that it's probably really awkward for you to share a creative work when you're just a beginner. Especially since the rest of us have a bit more experience than you do.
That's an understatement. By 1,000.
Don't worry though, we're all a little embarrassed today, you know? I don't think many people out there share their poetry on a regular basis. But it's the sort of thing that you get used to pretty quickly once you get it over with.
Yeah, that's true. I hand my poem over with a sigh. Don't grade me too harshly.
You'll be fine.
I watch nervously as she quickly scans through my poem.
Interesting poem, Sefchi. It has a very mellow yet emotional feel to it. I didn't know that you were this in tune with your feelings, Sefchi.
I can feel my cheeks growing hot at her teasing. I suddenly have a fever. I am now burning up. I have spontaneously combusted, and now on fire. I'm running around the room. Monica's panicking. Everyone's panicking. I forgot to stop, drop, and roll. I am now ash because my body was really dry for some reason. That's the end of the stream. Thank you for watching. You think?
No need to feel so embarrassed about this. Poetry is a very personal thing, so it's not surprising to see you putting your raw emotions down on the paper. Actually, your poem kind of reminds me of something Sayori would write.
Really? How so?
I mean, you and Sayori are really good friends, right? It shouldn't be too far-fetched for you two to write something similar.
Well, I guess you could say we used to be good friends at least. We kind of drifted apart over the years, so I guess it surprises me that we could still have things like this in common.
This club is the perfect opportunity to become closer again, don't you think?
I guess so?
Anyway, much like yours, Sayori's writing tends to have a gentle feel to it. She often uses her words to quietly meander through her imagination and to explore different emotions. Most of the time, I find that she addresses happiness and sadness in equal amounts, creating a bittersweet tone.
Wow, that's kind of unexpected of her. Maybe she's changed more throughout the years than I thought.
I know, right? Who knew that someone so happy would enjoy the pain of tragedy as well?
You know, sometimes you sound like Yuri when you talk about poetry.
Eh? Really?
Yeah, I guess you really like it, huh?
You could say that. It'd really make me happy if you could get into poetry as well.
No pressure, right?
For real though, feel free to explore different things and experiment. Maybe you'll find yourself writing in a way you never would have thought you would, just like Sayori does.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll end up doing a lot of different things before I settle on my own style. But not really, because I'm going to exclusively write for Sayori. It'll still take a while before I'm completely comfortable sharing my writing.
That's perfectly fine. In fact, I'd probably be more surprised if you immediately started writing with your own style. Most people go through the same process that you're going through right now. Trying new things is the best way to find the kind of style that suits you after all. Anyway, when you talk to everyone about it, naturally they'll be a bit biased with their own kinds of styles. After all, I know I am. But don't force yourself to write in some way just because someone wants you to. You should try to focus on what you want to do. Feel free to ask me for help anytime though. I try to be as objective as possible when I talk to people about these topics.
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind.
Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good.
You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good.
Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know?
Always on duty as club president, huh? Well, let's get to reading then.
The box. I see, but I don't believe. A lone fingerprint, listening on gleaming glass. Was it me? Was I always the one in the dark? I pound on the glass, my prison. Why me? Why me? The pain jolts me back, the understanding pouring down like heavy rain. It's all a farce. My heart's on display, my life's but a script just playing away. The world out there had seemed so bright, it was so free. So many choices, so much potential. Maybe I could have had a chance. I realize now that there was never a choice. I was stuck in this box, and they, on the other side, chose for me. So, what do you think?
I don't quite know how to say it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback.
That's okay.
I definitely get a certain kind of feeling from reading your poem, but I'm not sure how to put it into words.
I can understand that. Just try to articulate it however you want. You can use metaphors outside of poetry, you know.
Well, when you put it like that. I don't know, I'd say that your poem is kind of abstract? Very vague, at least. Like, I can't quite tell what exactly you're talking about, but even so, I can feel what the speaker's feeling.
Yeah, I think that describes my poem pretty well.
Eh, really?
I do like my metaphors. Well, you'd probably be hard-pressed to find a poem without a metaphor, actually.
Yeah, they're pretty well covered in English class, at least.
The ability to convey emotions and concepts through words, describing things even the writer might never have experienced before. I find that really powerful. When you write metaphorically, it allows the reader to focus on the emotions in the poem.
I guess it kind of opens it up for the reader to have their own interpretations.
Exactly. And it's fascinating when people can diverge from the creator's original intent to find their own meaning in a work of art.
Yeah. What was your original intent, then?
I think it'd be more fun if you tried to figure it out yourself.
That just makes me more curious now.
Maybe I'll tell you one day. But for now, here's Monika's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem, or anything for that matter, you get too fixated on a specific point. But if you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. So the best thing to do is just to force yourself to get something that. So the best thing to do is just...
You can do it, Colin. You can read.
So the best thing to do is just to force yourself to get something down on the paper, and then tidy it up later. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hands and write whatever's in your heart.
Easier said than done. I get what she's trying to say, though. It's better to look back on your work with fresh eyes after you've gotten something down. Sometimes. That's gonna be weird to cut together.
That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening.
Phew. I guess that's I got a little piece of oatmeal from the granola bar stuck in my throat. I guess that's everyone. I glance around the room. That was surprisingly fun, albeit it's a bit stressful. I already knew that I wouldn't be able to write to the quality of the girls, but I tried my best. I suddenly have to pee, but we're almost through this, so I'm gonna power through. Everyone here is incredibly talented. Well, all the girls at least. Across the room, Sayori and Monika are happily chatting again. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. This should be good. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As I watch, Natsuki breezes through Yuri's poem, her eyes skipping over the words. Meanwhile, Yuri stares at the paper in her hands, smiling sadly. Natsuki quickly hands Yuri her poem back. Here, I'm done. Already? Yeah, it's not like it was super hard to read. I'm not illiterate, you know. Huh? It was hard for me to understand, at least. I just want to make sure that you caught all the figurative language that I employed. Yeah, I did. It was fancy. Thanks. However, I believe that you'd enjoy it more if you looked deeper into it. I enjoyed it plenty already. Anyway, are you finished with my poem then? Yes, yours is... cute. Yuri, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? How if you dismiss it with one word, you're a dick. Cute. Didn't you learn anything from our conversation yesterday? Yuri looks shocked, regret seeping into her expression. Seems like both girls still hold their own prejudices, despite whatever common ground they have. How can it be cute? You're standing there, thinking that I haven't read your poem, when it's really you who hasn't read my poem. It's clearly about the push and pull between giving up and trying hard. I know that. I just meant... the language, I guess. Well, maybe you should look deeper into my poem, because I use that type of language on purpose. I see. But if I may give a suggestion, these more involved subject matters may be better suited to more complex diction. The art of poetry is deeply intertwined with... Look, I know what you're trying to do, but it won't work on me. I'm sorry, but I don't quite understand. Writing in this way doesn't make you look cool or smart, okay? It just makes you look super pretentious. If you write with a thesaurus... Oh, I'm gonna try that again. If you write with a fuck, why? If you write with a why can't I say this line? If you write with a if you write with a why can I say this line? If you write with a if you write with a thesaurus. It's right, it just sounds weird to me. If you write with a thesaurus, no. Fuck! Ah! If you write with the thesaurus open next to you, you're just going to alienate everyone. I'm taking it. It's good. It's close enough. Jeez. Oh my god. Okay. Using all these big words to make up for lack of depth, poetry isn't about impressing people. So you can just stop. Holy crap. I stare wide-eyed at Monica and Sayori, who have now also fallen silent. They stare back at me, looking unsure of what to do. I'm guessing that they don't usually have many arguments in the club, although tensions between Natsuki and Yuri already seem kind of high. Lack of depth? Yeah, that's right. So if I can give some suggestions now... Excuse me. I appreciate the offer. Hey, Carlix. You're just in time to watch the cat fight. I appreciate the offer, but I really must ask. What makes you believe that I'll accept your advice after you've been so rude to me? Huh? Rude? That was just blunt honesty. Do you ever consider that other people don't hold the same opinions as you? What are you trying to say? Do I really need to spell it out for you? Yeah, you do. I want to see if you're really going there. The irony. I dare you to say it. Yuri gives a small laugh of disbelief. I must thank you, Natsuki. I've never been this angry in my life. It's actually given me the courage to speak up. Is this why you're angry all the time?
Guys, we shouldn't.
Watch this editing trickery, guys.
This doesn't involve you!
Sayori, please don't rob me of my moment. So this is your moment to shine or something? Strange thing to take pride in, don't you think? No. It's my moment to finally speak my mind, while I still have the strength to.
Yuri...
Natsuki, have you ever realized how selfish you are? Suddenly, Yuri seems to be overpowering everyone else in the room. She's got some serious JoJo energy going on right now. What? Everything always needs to go your way. You always jump to conclusions and make rash decisions without regard for the consequences. And it's never your fault, is it? You don't know me. No, you don't know me either. And yet you spoke as if you knew everything about me. Quite simply, you don't. The very fact that you don't think your blunt honesty was incredibly rude just goes to show how narrow-minded you truly are. Seizing her moment, Yuri boldly carries on, disdain dripping from each word. I know it must be a difficult concept for you to understand, but the whole world doesn't revolve around you and your manga. So tell me, why should I take advice from someone who can only see their own perspective? Everyone knows it. Monica, Sayori, even Sefchi. Don't you remember how hostile you were to Sefchi when he first joined us? I wasn't being hostile. We haven't had a new member in a long time. Sorry, not sorry for keeping on my toes. And that's how I talk to everyone, not just Sefchi. Am I supposed to change my whole personality to cater to how you think I should be? If Sefchi has a problem with my jokes, he can tell me. You don't get to speak for him. Yuri closes her eyes and shakes her head, carrying on as if she didn't hear the outburst. Do you really expect a new member to be able to speak up so easily? Not everyone is as unafraid of being a brutish cretin as you. The rest of us were so excited to have a new member, but did that ever cross your mind? No, you just let your own selfish thoughts dictate your behavior. Selfish? They weren't so— You could have scared him off. That might have been what you wanted, but what about the rest of us? I just explained myself, for God's sake, but as per usual, you aren't listening. You know, for someone who's been ranting on about how narrow-minded I am, you're pretty intolerant yourself. There, I used a big word. Do I sound like Shakespeare yet? Am I worthy of your attention now? Ouch, both girls really have their claws out. Also, Monica and Sayori didn't have any issue with me yesterday. It's just you. Of course they did, Natsuki. They just didn't say anything. Monica is too responsible and Sayori is too kind. So why don't we ask Sefchi then, as the more unbiased spectator? Fine! Sefchi, who's right, me or Yuri? How did I get dragged into this in the first place? I don't even know what they want me to decide on at this point. Should I just ignore all the personal stuff and just talk about their poetry? That's what started the argument after all. But it's not like I'm a good judge of writing quality, given that I'm just a beginner. I don't think it'd be fair for me to take either side either, especially since I'm new here. Maybe I should defer to one of the club's leaders? So of course that's going to be... last time we did Monica, I kind of like Monica's version of it, but I want to see Sayori's. And if we don't like it, we'll go back and change it. We've got time. So I haven't seen this yet for this game. I hate being put on the spot like this. Both Yuri and Natsuki are looking at me. While their hostility isn't aimed at me, I still feel like I'm the target for the anger in their eyes. Guys, I gulp nervously as a bead of sweat trickles down my neck. I'm really not the best judge for this. After all, I'm new, so... I'm painfully aware of how weak my voice sounds. Neither girl looks impressed. Wow, real helpy you are. Natsuki. Let me guess. Blah, blah, blah. You're being so rude. You're a broken record. You're a shut up! Ah, so you're finally realizing how insolent you are. You got there in the end. Well done. You are such a... Stop! We're all stunned into silence. I've never heard Sayori angry before, and even Natsuki looks taken aback. Immediately, the anger on Sayori's face is replaced by a flood of tears, the anger giving way to sadness.
Guys, enough of this! Please! You're tearing apart this club! Please don't do this! I love this place so much, and you guys are both my friends! I hate it when people fight! It's horrible! This place means so much to me, and I know it means a lot to you guys as well. So please, can we stop arguing over whose style is better? It doesn't even matter. You're both unique, and that's what counts.
Yuri and Natsuki are both looking incredibly ashamed of themselves. I guess neither of them expected that their argument would hurt Sayori so much. That once raging fire has been snuffed out, replaced with smoldering embers.
I really like your style. I really like your simple style, Natsuki. It's so nice to sit down and read a poem that springs to life. And I know the others do as well.
Monica and I nod in earnest, putting a small smile on Natsuki's face.
And Yuri, I'm amazed at how complex and deep your poems are. They're really in-depth. But there's no need to argue over which style is better. You can't really compare them anyway. It depends on what mood you're in.
She's right, guys. Sometimes you're just in the mood for something simple. Sometimes you might want something a bit more complex. It's like music or movies. People like a variety of things. You can't really say that comedy as a genre is better than action, can you? Both types appeal to different things. You wouldn't watch an action movie for the laughs, would you? I look over to Sayori and give her a reassuring smile. She returns with a watery smile of her own, rubbing her tears away.
You said it, Sepchi.
She turns to face Yuri and Natsuki once more.
Now, you both said some stuff that was pretty mean. But I know neither of you meant it. Neither of you are narrow-minded. Although it would be nice if you could like each other's stuff a bit more. So, could you try doing that a little? Please? For me? For the club?
I can't help but laugh as she puts on puppy dog eyes. I don't think she realizes the right time to use them. Sure, whatever. I'll try. Yuri takes a deep breath, finally lifting her eyes off the floor. You're right, Sayori. I'll also make more of an effort. And Natsuki? What? Natsuki still looks quite defiant, as though expecting another insult from Yuri. I apologize for what I said. Your style has its own merits. Natsuki blinks as though slapped in the face. She clearly wasn't expecting an apology. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Your style is... She diverts her eyes downwards once more. I guess what I'm trying to say is... You write pretty well. I shouldn't have said that stuff. Me neither. There's an awkward silence.
That's much better, guys. Thank you for putting your differences aside. We all really appreciate it.
I'll go make some tea. She rushes off as Natsuki wanders over to the closet. I glance over at Monica. She hasn't said a word throughout the whole argument, which surprised me.
I should have been the one who said all that.
Why didn't you then? I wince as the words leave my mouth. They sounded more accusatory than I would have liked.
Well, I know I'm the leader and I run this club, but I'm not the greatest with people.
I frown. If she isn't great with people, how can she run a club? She must have caught the confusion on my face as she hastened to explain.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. I'm fine with people, it's just their drama that I can't really deal with.
Honestly, I feel that. Well, that's why you have Sayori, right?
She's an excellent vice president, able to deal with conflict much better than I can. Which is pretty embarrassing, at least for me. That should have been my duty to deal with, not hers.
I don't blame you, seriously. It was pretty tough to get involved. I could barely speak up.
True, but that's exactly the sort of thing that a president should be able to do.
How did vocal warm-ups make me worse? Like, my pronunciation of words is better, but my stumbling is not.
True, but that's exactly the sort of thing that a president should be able to deal with.
Nah, come on, Monica. Don't see it like that. You and Sayori just have different strengths, that's all. I always thought of her as a little ditzy sometimes, but she definitely has a knack for social situations.
Definitely. I'm very grateful to have her as my vice president.
Well, the both of you do a really good job running this place. I know that's a bit of an early assessment. But you know, first impressions and all. She smiles sweetly at me, causing my stomach to knot.
You're too kind, Sefchi. I'm glad Sayori brought you along to the club. I really do hope you stick around.
Don't worry, I will. Monica seems like such a genuine person, and she makes a great president, regardless of what she might think. Hopefully, I'll be able to properly get to know her during the school year.
Okay, everyone. It's just about time for us to leave. How did you all feel about sharing your poetry?
I noticed that she carefully avoids mentioning the argument that just occurred.
It was a lot of fun! Except for the argument, that kind of sucked. Oh, were you trying to avoid that? Sorry. Whoops.
Some moments were worth it. It was alright. Well, mostly.
Sefchi, how about you?
I actually really enjoyed myself. It seems I do like expressing myself through poetry. A lot more than I initially thought. Everyone looks intently at me, the girls smiling at me. It was really cool getting to see everyone's different writing styles.
That's awesome. In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And hopefully you learn something from us too. So your poems will turn out even better.
Yeah. I think to myself a bit as I begin to pack up. Today I managed to learn a little bit more about the kinds of poems that everyone likes. With any luck, I'll be able to learn more about the girls as individuals through their themes and messages. I nod to myself, turning to Sayori. Hey Sayori, ready to walk home?
Sure.
Okay, see you guys tomorrow then. As we leave the club room, Sayori turns back to wave at the girls, and I do the same. Natsuki smiles, then quickly looks away to act like she doesn't care. Yuri awkwardly smiles and nods. And as expected from the school idol, Monica gives a friendly grin and waves back. Sayori, about what happened earlier.
What do you mean? I already forgot about it, the argument. That never happened. I don't remember it. I mean, if there was an argument, I can't remember if there was or not. Was there an argument?
You know, between Yuri and Natsuki, I remember you told me yesterday that they sometimes bicker, but are all their arguments normally that bad? I feel a little guilty as I ask her, as I know she doesn't like talking about conflicts. There's a slight dip in the cheeriness of her voice as she replies.
No, not at all. They have their differences, but it's the first time I've ever seen them fight like that. They're both wonderful people, I promise. You don't hate them or anything, do you?
Oh, not at all. It's just only normal for people to argue, I guess. I was just curious, after all. You know them better than I do. Sayori lets out a relieved sigh.
You know, Sefchi, it's been so nice seeing you again. I didn't really think we'd get to spend so much time with one another again.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's been really fun hanging out again. I don't really know when we started drifting, or why. Guess it was just life coming between us? She nods, looking a little reflective. Still, I'm glad you let me join your club. I'm not gonna lie, at first I was a bit doubtful when you told me it was about literature. But hey, I guess it just goes to show that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. She giggles, and I frown. Did I say something funny?
Nice pun. Did you even realize?
Huh? Pun? Ah, you mean about the book comment? Oh, and this is a literature club. Jeez, looks like the club's really starting to rub off on me, isn't it? Sayori might be known as a bit of an airhead. She does have an IQ of 5, but sometimes she can really notice things that others don't. I wonder, what's it really like inside her head?
You haven't changed at all, Sepchi. You always knew how to make me laugh.
I've never really known how to react to that compliment, especially when it comes from someone of the opposite sex. That weird, strange, foreign species. I'm glad I'm still able to do that. I'll be honest, though, I didn't think I'd make so many new friends by joining the club.
Well, they're really a nice bunch. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, pretty warm welcome. She nods contentedly. Anyway, let's see what the future holds. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow!
These girls are all interesting characters, aren't they? Different personalities and a variety of writing styles. Yet they're all united under the same club, the same banner. One country, one mind. We are Legion. Nothing will stand in our
path of conquest.
I briefly wonder how Monica found all of them. In just 2 days, I feel like I've made progress with each member. Getting to know Yuri and Natsuki, actually getting to talk to Monica a little bit. And of course, reuniting with an old friend. I never would have guessed that this would all come from joining the club, but hey, I'm not complaining. Let's just hope my writing improves over time so that I can write poems to a standard more like theirs. Speaking of which, there's work to be done tonight. I have to hide the body. Let's do this. Oh god, it smells now. Alright, and there we go.